What is going on, everybody? It is your boy, the Bad Diggity Dizzle, back with another New York Giants video, as always. Thanks so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button and ring the bell. That way you know when I go live or do a video like this at any time here on YouTube. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Links are in the description. I will follow you back. Really trying to grow my Instagram. It just seems like that's more active than Twitter, although I am active on Twitter as well. But please follow me on both of those, especially Instagram. I will follow you back. Don't worry. Not talking about Daniel Jones. Well, I'm going to talk about him for a second, and it's not really about his play or whatever, but we're going to talk about this game coming up in Cleveland. I'm actually sitting here watching the Browns and Ravens right now, kind of scouting our opponents for the next 2 weeks, and obviously both of these teams are very good. Cleveland's been a very good team this year, as Baltimore is very dangerous. Lamar Jackson's a lot like Kyler Murray, and obviously we had a really hard time with Kyler Murray. But we do have the Browns coming up next Sunday night. And I'm still trying to wrap my mind around exactly what happened with the Arizona Cardinals game. It's not even that we lost. It's the way we lost. It's the way we played. Like, we hadn't played like that all year outside of San Francisco. It was a strange game. And I'm not taking anything away from Arizona. I mean, they did what they had to do. They game planned very well for us. And even Joe Judge said, we got outplayed, we got outcoached. Takes a big man to admit that. And I know that Joe Judge will go back to the drawing board and try to figure this out. I couldn't understand why they didn't run the ball. That baffled me more than anything else, why there was no running involved, why Wayne Gallman didn't get a chance to really establish the run. I feel like our offensive line was pass blocking better than they had because they got a little chemistry going and they got some flow going and they were feeling good run blocking. I always feel like that's how you get the offensive line on a rhythm. We really didn't do that, especially with Daniel Jones being hampered by this hamstring. And I just didn't understand the game plan. It was very strange, and even the game plan on defense, and I'm not taking anything away from Patrick Graham, I thought that the defense did everything that it could to keep us in the game, but a lot of soft zones again. I just felt like you had to go after Kyler Murray, but again, what do I know, man? I'm just sitting here making videos on YouTube. This is why I'm not a defensive coordinator or anything like that, but the New York Giants obviously have a very tough game against a really good Cleveland Browns team. And, I'm not sitting here saying we can't win this game because I still feel like the Giants can beat anybody remaining on the schedule. We saw what they can do when they do play really good football, when they win the turnover battle, when they run the ball, when they win time possession. Got to get back to these things. I don't know why we got away from them. Again, I don't know if Jason Garrett was trying to be cute. I've never really had a problem with Jason Garrett all season, but I did not like the way he called that game. I didn't like the game plan at all against Arizona. It just seemed kind of strange to me. I think that we got to go back to basics. The way we won those 4 straight games was with running with Wayne Gallman, establishing that run and allowing Daniel Jones a little bit more time in the pocket. I know he's not as mobile, obviously with a hamstring hampering him, but the play action pass becomes very effective when you can establish the run. We never really went out and tried to establish it. So it was weird. I think against Cleveland, you got to do the same thing. You got to go out there and you got to run the ball against the Cleveland Browns. You got to keep their offense off the field. And I feel the same way I did about Kyler Murray. You got to go after Baker Mayfield. I mean, you got to go out there and really try to get to him. Now, Baker Mayfield is not Kyler Murray in the fact that he's not running away from anybody. Kyler Murray is very tough to catch. He's very quick. He's shifty, and he can really throw on the run really good. Kyler Murray's I love Kyler Murray. You guys know that. And he's just tough. He's a tough guy to get down on the ground. So, I don't think Baker Mayfield poses the same problems that a Kyler Murray does. So I think the Giants will match up a little bit better going after Baker Mayfield because, again, I don't think he can get away from our athletic linebackers at all. And I think that we will be able to get some pressure on Baker, although Cleveland's offensive line is obviously very much improved. And, again, that's a team that runs the ball extremely well with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. And I always liked Nick Chubb coming out of Georgia. Thought he was a really good running back, and he's just been a beast. I mean, they're a good team. Cleveland is a much better team this year. Obviously, the coaching change certainly helped, and, they've all living up to expectations. A lot of people picked them to win that division last year. I didn't pick them to win the division, but I did pick them to go 10-6 and make the playoffs. They were everybody's sweetheart last year. They underachieved. This year, I think that they're playing up to their full potential, and it's going to be a very difficult game to beat them. There's no doubt about that. I mean, they're 9-3 for a reason, and they play good fundamental football. So again, the Giants are going to have to do exactly the same thing. We just can't turn the ball over, man. When we were winning these games, we weren't turning it over. We were winning time possession. We were doing everything correctly. No, we're not a good enough team to overcome mistakes. That's the big thing. When we were winning these games, we weren't making the mistakes. Even against Seattle, I know Colt McCoy threw the one interception, but we ended up winning the turnover battle and we ran the ball down Seattle's throat. I mean, that's what we have to do. Neither one, Colt McCoy, Daniel Jones, whatever, they're not going to go out there and they're not expected to throw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's not how we win games here. And people want to say Jason Garrett's play calling is bad. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm missing something, but I don't think that he did that bad of a job. I think Jason Garrett is working with what he has. I know a lot of guys say Daniel Jones don't have a good offensive line. Daniel Jones don't have any separation from wide receivers and everything else. But Jason Garrett can only game plan for the talent that's on the field. So I don't know what you guys want from Jason Garrett. Again, I don't like the game plan that he called in Arizona. Against Arizona, I thought it was bad. That was the worst. That was the first time this year I could sit there and go, I don't know what you're doing, Garrett. I really don't understand the play calling there. And Joe Judge, Joe Judge has come out and said, hey, Daniel Jones is probably going to play against Cleveland. If he feels the same way that he did against Arizona, he's going to play. And Daniel Jones came out and said he did not aggravate the hamstring. He said the hamstring's fine. It does not feel any worse from playing on it. So in my opinion, Daniel Jones is going to start this game this week. The only thing that concerns me, again, Joe Judge came right out and said, I had a problem with what Jason Garrett did. And this week, again, I'm not going to sit here and predict the future and talk about that. I just go from week to week. And I judge this team based on week to week. I give you my opinion on what I see from game to game. So, my opinion will change. I mean, that's just what I do. I'm not talking about 6 weeks ago, and I'm not talking about, 9 weeks ago. And Joe Judge, to me, has done such a great job, but Joe Judge is not above making mistakes. And to me, keeping Daniel Jones in there was a mistake. Also, when he says that we just wanted to see that he could protect himself and that we knew we weren't going to be able to run some RPOs and he wasn't going to be as mobile in the pocket, that kind of concerned me that you would put him out there when he doesn't have all of his facets about him. One of Daniel Jones's big strengths, maybe his biggest strength, is his mobility and the threat of the RPO and the ability to extend plays and get outside of the pocket. And if he doesn't have that, obviously it takes a big part of his game away. So, I'm hoping that Daniel Jones is 100%. People are, they got on me about the last video and everything else. And, they're like, oh, well, Colt McCoy. Man, Daniel Jones, you're like, well, why are you so happy that Daniel Jones came back? I said, Daniel Jones gives us a better chance to win than Colt McCoy. I may be hard on Daniel Jones, but I'm not stupid. I mean, I know that he's way better than Colt McCoy is. I'm not one of the we're not gonna win many games with Colt McCoy, guys. We won in Seattle, but that's not you don't want Colt McCoy out there every week. But again, I think if we have a 100% healthy Daniel Jones, and he can run and he can move and there is the threat of the RPO and he can get outside of the pocket. And the Giants go out there and establish the run like they've been, and they take care of the ball, like they were on their winning streak. And they get pressure on Baker Mayfield like they did Russell Wilson. There is no reason to believe that the New York Giants can't get a win. This, to me, is the biggest game of the season. Not because if we lose, we could be eliminated from playoff contention. Actually, I don't think we can technically, even if Washington wins, because we have the tiebreaker. They'd have to lose both. We'd have to win both. But you know what I mean? Obviously, it would put a really big hurting on our chances to win the division. But it's a character-building game. You want to see how they respond after a big-time blowout. After really, like I said, not many good things to see on film. The film session on Monday was probably hard to watch. There really wasn't a lot of good things to take out of that game. I guess if there's one thing you could take out of it, I don't remember the Giants being penalized a lot. I don't remember a lot of penalties being called in that game, period. I guess you could take that into consideration. That was one thing they did good, and the defense held up the best that it could. But the offense all around was bad. I mean, I'm not just putting that on Daniel Jones. The offensive line was awful. I mean, and awful is putting it nicely. The offensive line got humiliated. And nobody really stepped up in the receiving game. Evan Ingram disappeared. Darius Slayton. I mean, nobody did anything. I mean, Wayne Gallman didn't get enough carries. He had 48 yards and 10 carries. I mean, I'm not going to get on Wayne Gallman too much. He didn't have a chance. But the Giants, again, I ain't giving up on this team at all. I get down on them. I told you, I don't know what to say. Some people got upset with me about the video. And like, I expect more of you. I don't know what you expect of me. I never claimed to be anything I'm not on here. I don't claim to be I never claimed to be a rational fan. I never claimed to be an unemotional fan. I never claimed to be a guy that doesn't get excited and go off the hinges. I mean, a part of my charm is my rage and anger. People enjoy that. People like Mad Dog. They really do. And I don't like being that guy, but hey, man, I just call it like I see it. You don't need to agree with it, but I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to just tell you what I see. That's all I do. I see a team that can beat the Cleveland Browns. I see a team that can beat the Baltimore Ravens. I definitely see a team that can beat the Dallas Cowboys. But what we need to see is what we saw in that 4-game winning streak. Run the ball, don't turn it over, execute, play smart. The Giants really do have to play almost a perfect game to beat these teams. They're not as talented as these teams. But I know they can do it. They've done it before. And I know that they can do it again. We just have to see them do it. It's easier said than done. I understand that. There's a team out there. It's not going to allow you to just do what you want. But the Giants got to figure out a way. And again, I think this is a big game for Joe Judge and the bounce back. They did play much better after they got blown out in San Francisco. I think it's a big game for Joe Judge, especially if Daniel Jones is still hampered by that hamstring, to find a way to make him effective within the pocket, to do some things to get the damn ball out of his hands, maybe a screen. Why don't the Giants run screens? Bubble screens, screens away in Gallman, wheel routes, quick slants. I don't know why they don't do that stuff. But you got to do something to help Daniel Jones out, especially if he can't move. You got to figure it out. You got to put something in effect that guy is effective with, especially if he can't run. But again, I'm talking too long, guys, so I just wanted to get that out there. Again, I think we can win this game. We know what we got to do. We know enough about the New York Giants. We know what we are. We know what we are this year. We are a very tough-nosed defensive team that wins the game by running and clock control. That's how we got to do it. That's how we got to do it against Cleveland. We do these things, we can beat them. We don't do these things, we could have a repeat of Sunday. It'll be very interesting to see what happens. I'll have more stuff, Giants news or whatever throughout the week. And I am going to say, I am planning on working with Cop Pizzle sometime this week. I just got to get with him and figure out a night. But we're going to do a little bit of a collab. And I'm planning on doing a fundraiser stream that night. So I hope you guys will tune in for that. I'm thinking maybe Wednesday night for that. Like I said, I just got to figure out a night with him and we'll get that done. Anyway, sorry, 12 and a half minutes, way too long. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. It's Bad Diggity Dizzle and I'm going. Peace!